Again, I forgot to clap. Let's do that one more time.
No worries. We do it again.
Okay.
Yep. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, perfect. I can't believe you know what? Since we did it live, I keep forgetting to clap. But hey.
Okay.
All right.
Well, even so, very much welcome to That Beautiful Life podcast, episode 149. It sounds like a magic number, but it really isn't. I don't know. I kind of exaggerated. This is Roger Bergström, all the way from Stockholm, Sweden. Sitting here with a small cold, actually. I just told my buddy here that I'm not feeling 100%, but not bad either.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad weather, though. When I look outside the window, it's gray and it's very, as it is this time of year, most of the time. But even so,
chilly.
Yeah. But how are you, Q? What's up? How are you?
I'm good. Sitting here, nice, beautiful, cold, chilly day. It's actually starting to feel like winter now. It's like the temperature is underneath. It's under like 10, which for the past couple of months, it's managed to stay within the above 10 temperatures. So it was like, okay, it's still fall. Now it's winter.
Yeah, well. It has changed quite some, just the last, I would say, 2 weeks or something.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly pushing down. I mean, here, as I told you already when we were recording maybe 2 weeks ago, we've already been down under 10 and even around like 5-6 degrees one day or two. And I think during a few nights also very close to 0, which is normal this time of year. I would say it's been not that normal having like 12, 13 degrees plus, and even there was a place here in Sweden that had 19 degrees, I think last week somewhere. And I mean, late October, close to November.
That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Maybe so.
They're like, look, listen to me. Let me tell you something, Mr. Reservation.
Yeah.
Things are going to be a bit different around these parts now. It's going to be cold. It's going to be warm. It's going to be cold. It's going to be warm. You know what? We'll figure it out.
We're trying things out right now. Okay?
We're trying things out. Random things.
Give us some space, some slack. We need to do this first. And
don't tell us what to do. We know what we're doing.
We don't like those people now. We will pour rain on your houses. Thunder and lightning.
That's pretty much what happens.
Yeah, there was a little listening to a conversation between the. I'm not sure if it's
that's the weather
gods or whether
that's the weather and his basically the weather, his cousin Cloud, and his brother Merle. Merle happens to just be like a lightning bolt, just so you guys know.
Very itchy. Very.
All he says is "yeah."
Exactly. Kind of agrees here and there, and then quiet most of the time. Just sparkles a bit in the corner. Yeah.
As lightning bolts do, you know what lightning bolts are like?
Yeah, sure. It makes sense.
Doing lightning bolt shit. They're like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
How's it going? Good morning, how to light? Yeah, just doing lightning bolt shit. Yeah. Mind his own business. People out there thinking, oh, you know what? Isn't that a yeah? Lightning bolt.
And the thought goes like, oh, I need to light up that little cabin in the forest right there. Yeah.
If ever you were wondering what lightning bolts sound like, yeah, that's what it sounds like essentially.
Yeah, they do. You just hear the effect of their work, but as they sound like in person, that's it. That's spot on.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a translation to English. Yeah. It translates to all other human languages too,
Exactly.
It's all just yeah.
I was thinking, I can't even imagine that is like a word of meaning in any human language.
It doesn't mean anything, at least as far as I know.
It can't, right?
I don't think I'd
worried right there.
I don't think, unless it could be, maybe, but I don't think so. I would say I think it's highly unlikely.
I don't want to say Biggus Dickus in another language.
Does that mean something?
Well, that was actually a reference to Monty Python. It's Life of Brian. It's a conversation between the centurion, the Roman centurion, and his soldiers, and it's such a funny scene because he's talking about, I think it might be a relative or a friend, and the name is Biggest Dickus, and of course also they must have, yeah, it's so obvious they're having fun shooting the scenes because the kind of laughter that comes from, you know, like the soldiers are trying to keep their faces, right? They don't want to get beheaded or something from this guy, or the, I mean, it might be the emperor. I don't remember, but it's that kind of scene, and it's hilarious. So if you haven't watched Life of Brian, maybe that can be yeah, something for you to check out because it's just all over the place. I remember though when the movie, you know, bro, it's interesting. I mean, time travels fast. We've said that before. Yeah. That also means how movies. We've talked about that also before. How movies are made or were made, and I've been watching movies also thinking. I mean, if they would be like produced now today, I'm not even sure if they would be that, because some things are really. I mean, Life of Brian got a lot of critics, of course, from mostly the Christian community and everything all over the world, due to they're making like you know, it's a comedy, right? And the discussion started also there. What can you make jokes about, and what can you not make jokes about? And if you think about it, it hasn't really changed that much. Maybe even become worse with certain topics. I'm not sure if it has to do with just this, but overall. I'm also thinking about like you know, stand-up comedians that are getting shit and stuff like that, even punched in the face by some. No names, but you know.
No names.
but I think you know what I mean when I say that. This kind of, you know, getting very offended, like yeah. So
you can't say anything to anyone before they're sort of like, well, no, you've hurt my feelings, you know. Yeah. And I think to a certain extent, it's strange for me because I grew up in a time when, I guess the best way I can put it is people had thicker skin, I guess is the best way to put it. Like you could. I understand, you know, where sensitivity comes in. Like we do need people to be a bit more. I think understanding of others,
and respectful.
And
I guess
respectful, yes.
But that's like for me, that's a kind of basic perk that you get from the start. I don't know what to say. You know, you just.
I like the way you put that there.
Language. Yeah.
Basic perk you get from the start. Yeah, so you start with understanding and stuff like that. Basic perk, start off with that good stuff, and then you work from there essentially. But I think people now, it's just sort of like. People are so sensitive to almost anything. I think I saw like there was a video, I think it was by Philip DeFranco. And he was basically talking about how, I think Taylor Swift put out like a video or something, for a new music video or whatever have you. Now, I don't listen to Taylor Swift. I'm not a Swiftie or whatever Taylor Swift fans call themselves. But you know, like I've liked some of her songs in the past. I think I can't remember any of them now. But you know, I've had a one or two Taylor Swift song that came across the radio, and I was like, that doesn't sound half bad if I do say so myself. But that being said, the whole thing is that in the music video, she put like imagery of her standing on the scale, and when she stood on the scale, it said fat, right?
Oh,
and
okay.
Now with Taylor Swift, from what they were entailing in the video essentially was that for other women in the industry who, you know, work in this sort of space like a Taylor Swift would or whatever have you, they essentially under a lot of pressure to like stay slim and a certain size and all that kind of stuff because of the fact that that's viewed as beautiful. That's industry view as beautiful. Yeah. So essentially they're pressured to stay slim and stuff like that, which usually leads to stuff like eating disorders and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's something that Taylor Swift has suffered with in the past. Now I say I think because I don't know Taylor Swift and I don't follow Taylor Swift, but that's the narrative that was given in this video that Philip DeFranco put out. Okay. But essentially, in the video, it highlights that, you know, Taylor Swift is, you know, she did this video and stuff like that. And people came at her and they said, oh, you're fat shaming. And It's like she
Okay.
puts the herself on a scale and she puts the word fat on it, and it's all of a sudden fat shaming. You can't, and that's the thing. Like, you can't talk about things anymore. You can't say because I remember when you were, at least in my day, when you basically would essentially make fun of someone, there was a difference between, oh, I'm stating a fact, and there's a difference between I'm making fun of you. So saying to someone, oh, this person is fat, that's just a fact if the person happens to be robust or something. But then saying fatty McTaddy or something, that's making fun of someone. They're two different things, essentially. Yep. And so for me growing up, it was like, if someone was making fun of someone else, it was quite clear that they were making fun of someone else. And so at that point in time, that person could be offended because they could be like, oh, well, you're making fun of me. But just stating a fact nowadays is hugely a problem for people now. It's like, you can't state things that, even if they happen to be factual, because someone's feelings are going to get hurt. They're going to feel offended by you stating something that is potentially factual. Yeah. And I find that really, really disheartening, because it means that people nowadays don't actually talk to each other, and they don't actually talk about things, because we all walk on eggshells now, because everyone's afraid, oh, well, this is going to get me cancelled, or this is going to offend this person or that person, and so forth. And I think people people need to be understanding of others, and we need to be, what's the best word for it? We need to be, I guess, in tune to know how far to go. But I felt like people back in the day, at least where I grew up, I felt like they knew, for the most part. Not that they knew everything, but for the most part, as it related to most things, people were understanding enough that they knew when, okay, this is too far, and this is and especially with kids, it was like, kids didn't know per se, right? But they're kids. Kids do shit, the amount of stuff that kids do out of random.
It's
because
also a way of learning, like
exactly,
the kind of social learning between friends, and everything that goes on between two people, or even more, like 3-4 guys in a gang or something. They're trying to push the limits, and they learn by doing so. It's not the most beautiful thing all the times, but it's the way it goes very often. So they know that, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that or said that. At least if you get to that point, then you have those perks we were talking about. You understand that you have pushed yourself too far, and you've stepped on the toes on a friend or something, and you can say, I'm sorry. But even so, you might talk about it, and you might be able to talk about it. Today, you can't talk about it. As you say, the problem is the whole kind of woke and cancel culture is doing that to people. It also means that, even though it's not really we're talking about things that goes close to bullying, or going over the top when it comes to talking about, you mentioned, like, maybe being overweight or something. But I'm also talking about, like, general opinions, even politics, or beliefs, or whatever have you. You can't even discuss or say that I don't like that, or I think that's wrong because of this. Then you get shit because someone gets really offended. Why? We just think different, bro. But we can still cooperate. Hello.
Look at even during COVID, and we spoke about this, like, when they had COVID lockdowns, people, families, friends just stopped talking to each other because, oh, you didn't get vaccinated, or you don't think the way I think about this particular thing, or whatever have you, and so forth.
Yes.
And just considering that's how people have gotten to the point that, if you take a different viewpoint to them on a topic like that, it's like, well, we're not friends anymore, and that is so strange to me. Like, I've got friends who hold vastly different beliefs and views on topics that I hold dear to me, or whatever have you. But I think that leads to a good conversation. Like, I've got a mate of mine who holds a lot of different views than me when it comes to a lot of the modern culture and stuff like that. And he stayed with me for I believe it was he was staying at mine for, I think it was a couple weeks he was here for. And the thing about it is that when he stayed over, it was this sort of thing whereby we would have these sort of like intense sort of like conversations late at night, like after everyone's gone to bed, we're sitting on the sofa just like having these high these high spirited conversations with each other. But we would have those conversations 100% disagree the whole time. And at the end of the conversation, all right, bro, I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. And then the next morning we're up, I would chill like normal. We're having breakfast, we're chatting. Oh, what do you want to have for breakfast? What are you gonna, let's go. Where are we gonna go? What are we gonna do? That kind of stuff. And the thing, it was sort of like we're both understanding the fact that, hey, we're not gonna agree on everything. And what would come up those conversations? Sometimes I would wake up the next morning, and despite the fact that I disagreed with him the night before, the next morning I may wake up and I'll be like, you know what? You made some sense there with maybe one or two of these points, and in the same way, he might come and say, hey, you know what, Q, a couple of those points you made some sense. That's what friendship is supposed to be like. That's what communication with people is supposed to be like. You're not supposed to agree on everything. Sometimes you're going to disagree. That's just a normal thing. And I think
it's a normal thing. But at the end of the day, you still have to respect each other, especially if you don't know each other and everything. Or you should always do that. It's just proper manner, and it's just how the world should work. We have different opinions, and as you say, even though you might be close friends, that can happen too. I've been in the same situation. I mean, also you and me have had discussions where we disagree, but we at least agree that we disagree.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's because you have to realize that you can't live in a world or affect people to an extent that they will think and feel the same as you all the time. It does not work like that, and that's something I see that a lot of people don't understand, and they live in this bubble where that is so important for them. To bring out their opinion and all the time try to convince other people that they are right. But one day they will wake up and understand that doesn't work. It doesn't. I mean, I just see also here after the election in Sweden, since we got a change now, we have the right wing sitting in the government. It was 8 years of the Social Democrats and their likes. And it's still people on the left wing that are complaining and whining about things as if they don't really understand that, hey, you lost. It's over. It's over. Sure, you don't have to like the result, but you have to accept it. The democracy has spoken. The people has spoken.
That's how democracy works.
Voting. It's over. So just get over with it. You can definitely continue to discuss, and I will also be willing to actually answer and discuss if you have a how should we call it, a decent and proper manner and tone when you're actually writing or saying something. But that's not the case. It's always this like bashing down, and how could 20% of the people vote on this? I think I talked about the Sverigedemokraterna, this national party. How could they? Well, maybe you should think a look. Yeah, they voted, and maybe it was a reaction to things that have happened here that hasn't been done that well from the former sitting government. You have to think like that. You have to go further and step out of your head sometimes and try to do some analysis. And I feel right now that some people aren't able to do that at all. The analytics of consequences. That's something that a lot of people lack, that kind of ability to do that. And when you do, then that's when you get stuck in that kind of pattern. And I see some people, especially on social media, that are so stuck into this. And it's very almost depressing to see and read, because some of them are actually friends of mine, or at least they were when I was more active also in the kind of music community, like as a touring musician and whatever have you. So it's like, oh God, yeah, here we go again.
Here we go again. I kind of want to be more than friends.
Yeah, you see, exactly. There's a song for everything. So.
There's a song for everything, Yeah, you come to this podcast, you come for some music, you come for some conversation, some deeper conversation. Some people are probably coming in. Wait a minute. I thought this was video games.
Exactly.
Oh no, it's not just video games.
It's a bit of the sweetness and the saltness in a great mix in a bowl, and you will love it. Eat it.
In a bowl, yes.
Yes. Oh, the sweet and the salt. It's so good for you, man. Yeah. So it's but it's interesting. I just think that also. You've said it also before that you have to choose your. It doesn't even have to be a fight, but let's call it that.
Yeah.
You have to choose your fights or conversations for that.
I mean, even
or
when
posts.
you consider
Posts.
like in relationships, even in relationships, you choose your fights, right? Like some you could decide you're gonna have an argument with your missus this morning over, I don't know, like there's a random spoon in the sink or something, or you could just be like, it's not that important to argue about this morning. Hey baby, what's up? How you doing? I'll just wash the spoon. Like it,
Yeah,
like you, like
exactly.
you could choose, it's a thing that people do, there's choice of where you pick your fights. Some fights are fights that you want to fight, that deserve to be fight, that are important to fight, and some fights are not. Sometimes you need to bend them, put them away. No one needs it in their lives,
And I can tell you, with age comes a bit of a stronger perk, and that is that. I mean, it's a perk that kind of builds up over time. I would say it's like you building Lego. You build a bit piece here and there, and then it starts to become more efficient and stronger. I would say that's the kind of patience. It's not really patience either. It's the ability to understand that, well, it's not even worth to get into a fight about this, or an argue. It's better just to laugh a bit, shake it off, and move on, into the day or the rest of the day. So I guess that, because it is easier. I mean, I can think about myself going back in time, also living with my wife Anneli for so long time. I mean, I was closer to actually, how do I say? Yeah, well, getting to that argue, or whatever you want to call it, due to closer to like a shorter fuse, or whatever you want to call it. Also being younger, But also when you get a bit older, you have built up that perk a bit more, and you realize, hey, it's nothing. Okay, I can do that. As you say, I'll fix that spoon, or I'll go out with the junk and everything. I thought I would do it later, but you want me to do it now. I'm not gonna argue. I'm going.
You're gonna do exactly, and that's the thing. I think that's the thing that a skill that people need to invest a bit more into, being able to know when to pick your fights, and knowing that that essentially not everything you need to be offended about. We need to start I guess we've become so sensitive to certain things, and we become so desensitized to certain things. It's desensitized in the sense that, when we see people die, or we see stuff on the news, we're desensitized to it because we're so accustomed to seeing it in media. But then we're so sensitive when someone says anything to us, or stuff like that, or says anything about someone that we think we need to champion, or whatever have you. I've literally seen someone argue with another person about something, and then use an example. Oh, well, what if it was a black person? And then a black person responds and says, I'm not offended. And then the person's like, well, you speak for yourself, you can't speak for all black people. And it's like,
there we go.
Wow. Like you are like, you're a different kind of little cookie, aren't you, little buddy? Like you just want to be offended today. Like you just made your mind up. You got up this morning. You roll out of that little crack shell of yours, and you're like, gonna be offended today. There's gonna be something to be offended for, and I'm gonna be there for it. Yes, very nice. Yes.
Yeah, sometimes you start to wonder if that's actually the case, because it's super easy if you get into that mode.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just. So I just start up Facebook, for example, and read some posts, and I could get offended, but I don't, because I know where I stand. I know what I believe in. I know what I think, and I certainly know if it's worth commenting or not. I usually never do that, because most of the time it's just another person being exactly what you described. So it's like trolling in a way, if that makes sense. And it's don't fall into that trap.
You gotta be able to just like
you
tell
gotta be
yourself,
the
hold
better
up.
person. Literally, that's the where I'm going at. And it's in the small, and it's in the big, and it's like the thing, as you said. I mean, it could be just something like, just walk away, just go on with your day. It's not even worth it. So
Totally.
Because a lot of these people also, all they want to do, they want attention. You know, that it's kind of sad in a way. Some just want attention, and they do everything they can to get it. But also, it has to do with the the kind of lack of seeing the difference between a certain saying, opinion, and it becomes a personal thing more than anything. And that's when you haven't understood what it's about, you know.
Definitely.
Well, it's very interesting because it has, of course, become so much more during the years, I would say. As you said, it was. And of course, it also has to do with the fact that you can express yourself in a second or two nowadays in a way you couldn't back when I grew up, for example. No internet, nothing like that. You could write a letter to a person maybe, or, you know, write an article in a newspaper or whatever have you. But it was slower and it was more like verbal. You talked with each other, right?
There was time for communication.
Yeah, face to face, more or less. You know what? I did not like what you said yesterday. Can we talk about that? You know, I wouldn't go on to Facebook and, you know what he did this and that, and he did it, you know, I'm not sure people do exactly that, but it was just an example. Oh yes, actually, I've seen that, so it's true.
I think people had more time to think about stuff back then. You know, you actually had time to sort of like, you know, sort
now
of like,
everyone is holding a smartphone in their hand and they just, oh, I'm offended, I'm going to write about it. I'm offended,
instant.
I've had enough, this person or this company or this and that and the world and la-di-da. So it is a, yeah, it is a difference. the possibility to reach out to so many people in an instance is there, you know.
It is.
And they take it. So, yeah.
They use it as soon as they get the chance. Like, look, I've got the opportunity to do this. I've got the possibility to do it. Like, why not use it? And I think we as a society, we need to think, you know, like, not just because you can have something, you should have something. You know,
right.
So a lot of times, like you said, I would see someone post something on Twitter or you know, Facebook or even YouTube, and I instinctively want to respond to it. You know, I instinctively, it's something that basically affects me to my personal core. But then I know it's on the internet. I know it's just a shouting tunnel essentially on the internet. I'm not doing that.
Yes.
There's one place that I actually do. I actually respond to people if it bothers me, but I do that on purpose, and that is on YouTube. And here's the reason why: I only respond to people on my YouTube videos, and there's one reason for it, right? Ad revenue. Like, shit, if you comment on my video and I have a problem with you, I don't even care what, I will literally argue with you for days, buddy. For days. You'll keep coming back and my AdSense will be going up. So, like, feel free to disagree with me on my videos. Like, I will literally argue anything with you, and I will argue against a point that I believe in on my own video.
Because all publicity is good publicity. We know that by now. It's if you can.
I'll take your money, buddy.
Actually, I am about the same. I've done that too on my channel quite a few times.
Yep.
I mean, trying to keep it sane again, trying to be respectful, even if the other person isn't really that. It comes to a certain point, though. I mean, there has been occasions, especially in the past, when I blocked a few persons because, you know, it just gets over the top. And it's
I think
really...
for me, I think the line that I draw is when you go from us having a debate and, you know, and having a strong disagreement to maybe when you cross the line of like, okay, maybe you get like, you start using
like personal.
I wouldn't even say with personal attacks. I would say like when you start using derogatory terms, or if you start, you know, you start speaking about like my family in particular, whatever have you, or very close friends, then potentially I might say, you know, okay, this person has gone a bit too far. I think outside of that, like, I will banter with anyone on one of my videos. Like, I will literally come in the comment section and be like, hello, how are you? Yes. I was debating a guy the other day about, we were talking about war and stuff like that, you know, on one of my videos, you know, because I was saying war bad. And he was like, no, it isn't. Humankind becomes better because of war. So I went into the comments.
How do they become better because of war? I would really.
His debate was that when in all peaceful countries, the people have deteriorated and they've gotten lame, and I'm like, that's not really true, is it? You know.
That's like saying in order to make great arts, you have to suffer. Bro, I've heard
Exactly.
that. I've heard that. No, I've been
People have
feeling great most of the time, but I have been. Yeah, okay.
you put out some gems, Mr. Bergstrom. Yes. No,
Hmm.
but seriously, like I had a long debate with this dude about that point, arguing my point with him and so forth. And he, despite the fact that we strongly disagree, that we had some nice choice words for each other, it mostly for the most part it was respectful for the most part that we were able to have that back and forth. And hey, you know what? At the end of the day, I smiled because I got more clicks, more ad revenues. I looked at that little thing go up, boop. I was like, yes, sir. I like you.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
nice. That guy was
yeah.
my
That's
favorite
what's
guy
up.
that month,
Yeah. Employee of the month. No.
Employee of the month, man. Customer of the year,
Comment maker of the month. Yeah.
Definitely. Speaking of comment maker of the month,
Yeah.
I've finished my cup of hot chocolate that I had this morning. It is the morning of the 2nd of November. I can't believe it's the 2nd of November.
Me neither. I have no idea what happened with October. I was really there when we went into October. I realized it's 8th, it's 9th, it's 10th. But after that, something happened.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Time just flies, man. Time flies. Everything just moves on so quickly and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It is a hell of a thing. I can't believe we're literally just a couple months from December. It was a month from December, sorry. And then it's going to be January again. And it's going to be 2024 or 2023, sorry. Like, time flies so quickly. And this week has flown by so quickly as well, with regards to just the family being away. And me being home alone for a week and stuff like that. They're back.
Yeah, I have to ask you because I wanted to know. I mean, last time we spoke, exactly, your family was in New York, and apparently they came home. I guess everything is fine, and yeah. So how are things going now?
Oh, they're good.
Back into normal.
To be
life,
fine, I think everyone just sort of just sort of came back and sort of just like fit back into where they were before they left for the most part. Like everyone just sort of got back in because they were only gone for a week, so they just got back into what they were doing before they left essentially, and it's just sort of just worked back out into that little nook. I think the only difference is, I guess, I have a lot more stuff that I'm doing outside of them, especially as well. Like I've been meeting up with these new friends that I've made through the app Meetup, to go and watch anime together and stuff like that. So that has been going good. I've continued doing that. I actually went and met up with them last night, which was great. I cycled over and cycled back. We watched the anime Chainsaw Man. So that's been good, and then just generally just everything just sort of just is normal. Like it is what's normal for us here in the house, like we're having a very normal time. There is a difference that something some change that's coming though, and that's for this coming weekend because my brother and sister-in-law are taking a week off to travel to somewhere else. They're going on a little vacation because it's my sister-in-law's birthday.
Wow.
So essentially my brother's taking her to somewhere. I can't remember where they said they were going, but either way, I'm babysitting my niece. So we're gonna have my niece over, and I have uncle duties, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Nice. Yeah.
So I've finally worked my way into being her favorite uncle. So I am hoping to continue to keep that title as long as possible.
Exactly.
She does have a couple other uncles, and there is some stiff competition. So I'm hoping I can win.
Well, you have a good chance now during the weekend, so
definitely
don't spoil her too much though. But yeah.
Well, I don't do spoiling. I would tell you that much. But the thing I'm worried about is essentially just being able to just like live up to the expectations of my brother. One, because obviously he's his daughter. He's so protective and and he's very my brother is very what's the word I'm looking for? he's very particular in how he does things with her. So he's for him is like it's really important. His approach with stuff with her and everything like that. And I think to myself, it's like I obviously he's trusting me with her for a weekend, and I don't want to like break that trust in the sense of I want to be able to just like at the end of the weekend be able to hear you know what, it was good, like and I want her to have a good time as well. So it's that sort of thing where it's like, okay, there's a lot of pressure, but I'm like, I'm ready for this.
Oh yeah, you will. It's gonna be fine. That sounds nice.
Yeah,
man. It sounds really good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Everything is, back in place. It feels so weird when you use words like that, but I know exactly what you mean and things like that. I think here it's almost been a normal week, whatever that is. I think I told you that. Well, Adam's car got fixed. That was nice. So yeah,
very nice.
It was a small, I would say a small problem. There were some cables actually from the battery to the motor or the starting engine, so they needed to change those. That was literally it. So it was a cost, of course, but not. It could have been worse if you put it like that. So yeah, I have been out. Actually, me and Isaac took the car for a spin 2 days ago just to drive now a bit more, also for the battery overall. And I guess next week, because I don't think it's going to happen this week. I mean, we are recording on a Wednesday and it's Thursday, Friday, 4 months left. I think it's going to be next week when we take the car out to the other side of the city, as mentioned, for the staying there for the winter. It's time to do that because now, as said, we are in November and it could potentially come some snow as well. So we just have to do that. I don't know. Other than that, as I told you, I have a small cold now. Isaac started to sneeze 2 days ago. I hope it stays here. It's nothing really to be bothered about. So we see where that goes. I've been continue to be a productive man, I would say.
Same.
Trying to, a bit frustrated some days ago. I had some small technical issues as well, and that slows you down apparently. And I also, I'm not gonna talk too much about that, but I've said before that I've been doing a deep dive into what I need to have in place when I'm gonna release my music and everything, and what to think of. And I know that I have to put aside one day just to how should I explain this without getting too deep into it? Like upload tracks for being tracked when it comes to copyright stuff and things like that. So I just have to. It's gonna be one of those days sitting writing titles and clicking. Literally, that's what I need to do. But it has to be done. It just has to be done. So yes. I'm trying to, okay. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. So yeah, it's one of those.
You just get by. You just have to make it happen.
Some things are just like that. It's not the most fun things to do, but they have to be done. And when you've done it, then you don't have to. You don't have to do it again. So that's at least a good thing. But
because girls just want to have fun. That's basically it.
No, not only girls, boys too. I'm offended. I'm gonna write an article. I am so offended because Q said that only oh shit, that was not good. I almost crashed my recording because I actually did some fake typing on it.
That's the thing. Whenever you're messed up on your keyboard and you completely forget that you're doing something like recording or live streaming or whatever have you. I've had that same issue. Like I was editing something on Vegas Pro the other day, and I was messing about with my keyboard and forgot, and something moved on the screen. I was like, shit, damn it, what did I do wrong? Go back. So yeah, that is the thing.
Yeah,
that is the thing.
Yeah, I've done that too. It's I edit my videos in Premiere Pro, and I don't know what I did. I mean, I have been using that software for quite some time now, but I had another software which was Power Director for the first 6 years on YouTube or something. And when you are, the basics of a software and you know exactly what you do, but if you get a bit outside of your territory, things can go haywire. You don't really know what's happening. And I did exactly that. I must have made some kind of short command or something because something screwed up the timeline. So I had to go on to you. That's the good thing, though. Go on to YouTube. I mean, there's thousands of tutorials when it comes to Premiere Pro. So it's like, okay, we can do this.
Same.
But then it can take some time to actually fix get the. I mean, it might be a similar thing, and you get into the video or similar problem, get into the video, but it's a fix, but not really the one you needed. And then you have to go back and maybe this video, maybe this, and because sometimes you just Google and you get straight onto the point in the right article or the right saying, and you don't even have to do much more. But certain things don't really show up in text that easy, and then you can actually be more beneficial to search for the same, but on YouTube. Or the opposite around. But I've just found that kind of interesting. So yeah, I know I was really close to mess up my recording here, but everything is fine. I see the softwares are doing what they are supposed to do.
They're like, we got this. We know what to do. Ooh, I just got an email from YouTube. I've been approved to make perks on my channel. Very nice.
Good.
There's a member option happening on LP Guardian on YouTube. Go over there to LP Guardian. It's in the link in the descriptions, and you can subscribe. And I've actually got videos. I'm gonna have certain videos hidden behind membership for not indefinitely, just so you guys know, but for like a couple weeks to a couple of months. Some of the videos are gonna just be for members only. So those of you who want to get some of my content early, you will be able to get it through that. It will still be unlocked for everyone later down the line, but it's just like a timed exclusive kind of thing. So keep that in mind for those of you who may want a little bit of banderiness from the Husbando of Dreams. So yeah, that's just something else. But I just saw the email on my phone because I was getting I'm actually getting messages from Alex. She's got a bit of a problemo in the house that I can solve after the what do you call it? After we get off this recording, if I do say so myself. So yeah, that's essentially it. That being said, I think we can jump into what we've been playing.
Yes.
What I've been playing this week is actually on the screen, and I'm actually playing it live right now. So
beautiful.
I've been playing this game called Moonscars. Now, what I thought I had enough footage to run for the whole podcast, and then I realized I don't have enough footage to run for the whole podcast.
Okay.
And so I just loaded up the Switch. Good thing I've got everything set up on my PC and it all works connected and stuff like that. So I've literally just turned on the Switch to actually have the game run on the screen while we're talking about it, and in general, just talking on the podcast so that you guys have something to look at. And this is a game I got for review from, I think it's Humble Games are the guys behind this game. And when I got Moonscar, I guess the first time I saw Moonscar, I was like, this looks kind of interesting, but I'm not sure if this is going to be my type of game, essentially. But we will see, la be la. And I'm looking at the game, and I it looks cool, and I start playing it. This game is sort of like, I guess if you take a Souls-like and make it 2D. That's the best way to probably describe Moonscars. It's like a 2D Souls-like game. Like, it's all about it's a bit quicker than some of the other Souls-like games. I think maybe closer to Elden Ring probably. Because you move a lot. You have to dodge, you have to parry, and so forth. It's also a Metroidvania because you have a big map and you can go back and visit certain places, and I believe there are going to be hidden areas and all that kind of stuff. I think I may have stumbled upon a hidden area before I went to bed last night, and I intend to go explore that area again if I can remember what a frack it is, because everything in this game is the same color. It's just gray and red and black and all that kind of stuff. I will say it's very cryptic. So far from playing the game, it's a very cryptic game. I personally don't understand what the frack is going on, other than the fact that I think my character died and she came back to life as a clay person. And this old guy that you can see on the screen next to her is supposed to be her creator, and that cat on the top there is like one of his like companions or something. I don't know. But essentially, it's a sort of like a Souls like you walk around, you swing your blade, you can charge your attacks. You have special attacks. All this sort of stuff. You traverse like you would in a 2D platformer, like a Metroidvania kind of thing. And I like it. I have to say. Honestly, I think this is a really cool game, really cool concept, and I'm down for this. Like, I am totally into this whole sort of like gameplay and all that kind of stuff. And
nice.
I think it's one of the things, like, I loved OG Metroid. Like, back in the day, I really enjoyed Metroid back in the day. And coming back to a game like this, where it's skill based and, you know, it's all about precision and, you know, your movement and your attacks and everything like that, and getting new abilities and moves and so forth. That's great. You know, I think that to me is really, really cool. And for the RPG crowd, it's got, like, for example, like your RPG sort of like leveling tree and skill tree kind of thing and stuff like that. So you can level up your characters' sort of skills, and the skill tree is pretty. I think it looks decently robust. I wouldn't say it's the most robust skill tree I've seen, but it's decently robust enough to, like, you can get stuff done, but not be too complicated. And then, you know, the map, of course, it's pretty small for me now. I've just started the game, but as I get through the whole experience, it's going to get bigger and bigger, and I'm going to unlock new abilities and new items and all that sort of leveler. But I'm still getting the hang of it. Still early days for me in this game. I think I've probably only been playing for maybe about an hour, if so much, of gameplay. And within that hour, I can already tell, like, this game is pretty awesome. And it's probably going to kick my ass. I haven't died yet, but I expect to at some point in the future. Which comes par for the core for these sort of Souls-like games. Like, you are supposed to get your ass handed to you at some point or the other. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes when that time comes. But yeah, I actually think this is one of the games that you would like a lot, Raj. I genuinely think you would like this game a lot. Moonscars is something I think you should check it out. The only thing, though, I would say, don't do like me and play it on Switch. Like, I think the Switch version runs not as fluidly as I think if I had it on my PC or Xbox or any other platform. I don't think the Switch version has a good frame rate. I can't say for sure because I'm not, like, running any software that's tracking it, but it has felt a bit off sometimes, and like screen tearing kind of off. And then the other thing too was that the game crashed on me once. So I don't know if that's I don't know what caused it, but it did crash on me once while I was playing it last night. So keep that in mind. Anyway, excuse me, Moonscars, great game. I'm enjoying it so far. Check it out on, I believe it's on pretty much everything that you can think of. You know, your PC, your PlayStation, your Xbox, and your Switch. I believe it's on everything. I can't say for sure at the moment because I don't have it. I don't actually have the press release or any kind of information pulled up in front of me because all of my screens are filled with stuff at the moment. But I believe it's on every platform, and you can just Google it. Moonscar. There's going to be a link somewhere in the description, I think, for it. Raj, you, sir, have not been playing Moonscar.
No, I haven't. Even though I said it looks fun. I've been playing kind of an opposite game in many ways, but it's in the genre of horror. Surprise, surprise. Since I knew that there would be a DLC coming up for Resident Evil Village that was released. When was that? Was it a year ago? Like. I played that game early on, Resident Evil Village, and as said before we started to do the podcast, it didn't play that well. It wasn't that well, talking about technique and stuff here. It wasn't that well optimized. It took months after I finished the game until they got it so much better. Now they have released, I think it was the same day as Modern Warfare 2 was released on the 28th. They have released a DLC called the Winter's Expansion. I got it, or actually, this is how I did it, because I wasn't sure. I'm using Family Share with Adam, my oldest son, and actually, I just realized yesterday, since I was streaming this yesterday, that wait a second, I do not own the game. I actually played it through Adam's library, meaning Resident Evil Village, the base game. So how to do then? Can I buy the DLC and still play it? No, you can't. So I gifted Adam the DLC, and then when he has accepted, you can then download and get it all as it should be. So that works. So it was released on the 28th. It has a kind of set of things, and one of them is a you might say the game, actually the campaign in the DLC. That is called Shadows of the Rose. And Rose is the daughter of Ethan Winters. That is the main character in the Resident Evil Village game. So we are following her and what's happening with her and her powers, I would say, because, I'm not going to spoil about that. It's something that she has. And I just streamed it yesterday, and it was a lot of fun. It was nice to get back into this, even though it's a bit different than, of course, like the experience of playing the Village game. But I like it so far. It is, of course, Capcom behind this once again, and it looks good. And as said, it played good. I was happy since I also have a weaker GPU for the moment right now. So I was happy to see that actually it played better now, even though I had a weaker GPU than that I had a stronger one when the game was initially released, the full game. So it's that. It's also a kind of a mercenary mode in this DLC where you can play as either Ethan Winters or Chris. Like almost like wave based. You get to a certain level, and no, not wave based. It's not really. You at a certain level you have to survive. You kill the monsters. You get to the vendor. You maybe buy a thing or two and get back into the next level and so forth. It was kind of fun. There's quite a few things when it comes to, if you're into the whole universe of Resident Evil, when it comes to art and stuff and characters and that you can go through. And so it costs $19.99 right now on so about $20 on Steam. And well, so far it's worth it for me. I think it is. There is actually it's something like Resident Evil Village Gold Edition gameplay demo that you can download and play if you guys want to try out Resident Evil Village. If you haven't played it already, so that can be something to check out. But overall, this was this has been a good first look into the DLC, and I will definitely continue to play it. It was fun.
I think that's good. I think that is. I still haven't touched Village yet, but I think in due time I probably will at some point or the other. Maybe just to scare other people. Maybe I put it on for someone else in the house and be like, I'll sit and watch you play this, blah, blah, blah. And then it being, especially with Game Pass, at some point it's going to turn up in Game Pass. Like, what Game Pass is like. It's going to pop in there and I'm going to be like, I might as well install it. It's in Game Pass, blah, blah, blah. Which reminds me, there are quite a few games on Game Pass that I need to play before they inevitably remove them from Game Pass. So keep in mind, you Game Pass people like moi, you need to like use your Game Pass because they don't leave the games on there forever. At least some of them don't. So you gotta use them, put them to good use and all that kind of stuff. That being said, regards to like putting things to good use, I did put a bit of my time to good use, and I did check out a couple good shows during the time that I was alone. Most of it was anime, so I won't go into too much detail with regards to those. I would just say that if you want to hear me talk about anime, I have an anime podcast for that, so you can go over and check out the Innocent Cast on Simply Otaku if you want to hear about what I think about certain anime and stuff that I'm watching and all that kind of blah. But I started watching something new on while I was alone, and it was sort of like, sometimes you put on something, you go into bed and you're alone and you just want like sort of like, I think to a certain extent like I wanted a bit of company, and so I just sort of found this show on Netflix and I just put it on. It looked familiar and it was interesting but also weird. And the show I'm talking about is one called Human Resources. Have you seen Big Mouth before? I think we've spoken about it in the past.
No, I haven't. I haven't.
So Big Mouth is this animation about, kids coming to terms with their sexuality, so you have these young kids and they're going through puberty and all this sort of stuff. And they have these things like you have a puberty monster that sort of like, tells you when to do certain things. And like, like the kid is sort of like your imaginary friend, but for like pervy shit and like weird puberty stuff, like someone growing a hair or something. It's like, look at you, beautiful man, grow it with your one balls here. Amazing. It's like, so it's weird, but funny, but also gross, but also kind of endearing. And it's a mixture of emotions, essentially, is what Big Mouth is. And they've done a spin-off of Big Mouth called Human Resources, where essentially you get into the lives of the monsters that help these kids, and It's hilarious and weird and everything that Big Mouth is, but just again focus on the monsters themselves. And I think I've only managed to like properly watch maybe half of an episode because I fell asleep while watching it. So I can't actually give it a rating this week. I will not be able to tell you if it's a 9 or a 10 or anything. I will have to watch more of it. But I do intend to watch more of it. Not in one fall swoop. Like it's not. This is not a series you binge. This is a series you watch sparingly at a point in time when you need to, not when you have food, because Big Mouth and those sort of shows can be gross sometimes. So I wouldn't recommend having anything to eat while you're watching Human Resources. But
Okay.
you know, maybe when you're just laying in bed and you got a couple hours to kill before you go to bed, or you're just relaxing. You know, you don't have anything doing at that point in time. Maybe you put it on. You're on a train or something. Maybe not on a train. This is Big Mouth. This is Human Resources we're talking about in the Big Mouth vein. No, you don't want to have this on a train because there are a lot of penises and boobs and all that kind of representation in this sort of show. So maybe not. You know. Yes, it's a mature cartoon, not for kids at all in the slightest. Unless, of course, if they have parental supervision and you trust or you think that your kid is ready for that level, then by all means, you know, you do you, boo. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. Cool. Human Resources on Netflix. And you also have been watching some on Netflix as well, Raj.
It's true. It's true. Oh, yeah. It's been, it's been interesting. And I just realized it's kind of almost ironic because this movie was released on the same day as mentioned when it comes to the Resident Evil Village DLC and Modern Warfare 2, meaning 28th of October. And it's a war movie. It's a war movie. Isn't that
all
weird?
war happens at the same time, Raj. That's it.
Yeah, apparently. The stupidness of mankind just goes into one. This is actually a movie based on a book. And I remember this book from school. Maybe you do as well. I don't know. Yeah, it is interesting. I didn't know that they would make a movie out of it, but they did. It's a book called, or a movie apparently now also, that is called All Quiet on the Western Front.
This wasn't a book that I read though when I was in school, but go on.
Yeah. Okay. I think I've either read it or the teacher was reading it. You know, that happened too sometimes, right? For the never mind. If we start with the book, it was first released in 1928, and the reason why is it's written by a German war veteran of World War One, so it makes sense. It was written in 1928. It's a novel by Erich Maria Remarque, and so Netflix. Well, apparently it's a movie now on Netflix. It had, which is needed, a large budget. And it's about young German soldiers' terrifying experiences and distress on the Western Front during World War One. I mean, very often, and it's closer at hand as well, we talk about World War II because, yeah, it's closer at hand. It was like 70 or 80 years ago. And World War II, you know, that was almost at the beginning of the 1900s, right? But it's, yeah, I got to get to that. It has a 7.9 on IMDb, about 75 Metascore. I would give it more than 7.9. I think it's worth more. I think, first off, its original language it's in German, which I think is awesome. It makes it so much better. And it's, if you are very sensitive when it comes to blood and people getting blown into pieces and the true nature and face of war, then you should not watch this because it's very, I shouldn't say realistic, but it's dark. It's dark. But it tells a very important part of the human history, a story that is definitely worth taking part of just because of that. The madness and insane, war. It's
the cruelty of it all, essentially.
Yeah, the cruelty. Thank you very much. And the thing is, if you think about it, 17 million people died during World War One. And it's absurd to think about that so many people almost never left the trenches as soldiers. And when they did, they most often died. They gained, like in months, about maybe just a few hundred meters. And during those few hundred meters, millions of soldiers died. It was absolutely, totally in vain. and it really gets to me emotionally just talking about it, because if you think it's like a few hundred meters for millions of people's lives. That's it. That's the insanity.
That's essentially it shows the value of what a human life is worth in the context of that, essentially.
But it's and it's good acting too. I think especially this guy, then the main character, his name as the character is Paul or Paul in the series, and the things he goes through. I mean, apparently he starts to lose his friends. I mean, the war is going on, and they're getting closer to the point where Germany and France are doing this agreement that also led to the disappointment within Germany, kind of losing the war. And later on, Germany went into depression, and we know what happened from there. A party came up, the Nazi party that became strong, and it eventually also led into World War II. So it's oh my God, it was good. It was good to it's a good movie, if I put it like that, but very, very strong, very strong. So All Quiet on the Western Front right now on Netflix. The original title is Im Westen nichts Neues. That's what it's called in German.
So it's originally a German film, essentially, translated to English, or whatever language you happen to speak.
Yeah, it's a 2.5 hour movie, so it's quite long. But it has to be that. Sometimes you watch movies and you feel like, oh, why didn't they make it like 2 hours or 1.5 hours? But this makes sense. It has to be told like this.
I think films nowadays they essentially are lacking to a certain extent, because like films back in the day told, like, they would tell a story and you'd feel, I think to a certain extent you'd feel like you got the plot, or you got the story, or whatever have you. Like, you went through like there was a tale and there was art behind it, and the artists who created this art, the writers or whatever have you, they knew what they were doing, and they created something beautiful, or terrifying, or whatever have you, and so forth. I believe nowadays, I don't think in general that we have that same kind of art. I think, like, I was watching something the other day that was basically going over how, and I hadn't thought about it myself in that way. I just knew that I felt unfulfilled by a lot of films, but I think the best way it was described was that movies nowadays are sort of like a roller coaster. You get excited and all that kind of stuff, but they lack soul. They lack that sort of thing that we
depth or whatever. Sometimes even
it's just shallow, essentially, just shallow. Like, yay, boom bang explosion, la di da, swiddle. But movies when we were growing up, were more than that. They were more than just a big explosion or whatever have you.
We touched base about that before, and I think it has to do with first off, the story, taking time to actually have a good story to tell. A good script, a good writing behind it. And then also letting some things take time, maybe to get to know the actual characters some, to start to feel for the characters. Definitely. That is very often foreseen nowadays. You just, his name is Chris and she's Samantha, and that's it. Like, oh, he died, I don't care. But here, for example, also in that sense, this was a older kind of style made movie, but of course with good, well, as I said, budget and possibility to make it really like realistic due to all these trenches and the demolished nature around the battlefield and the people in need and everything that comes with it. So, but even so, you got to know some of these soldiers, his friends, Paul's friends, and himself, of course, and you really felt for them. You got sad when they died. It was like, no, why? That kind of feeling. And as you said, of course, now this is also that kind of genre of a movie that has to be said. But I think you pointed something out that very often now it's more like just, I mean, because there are shooting and explosives and action in this movie too, but it has a depth, it also connects to something that actually happened as well. but even so, even though it's fiction nowadays, it can be way too much just focus on that. Boom, crash, boom, sliding, gliding, boom, jumping from a plane, splash into the water, submarine. Yeah, here we go. Chris dies again, and I don't care. So I guess yeah, it depends on. I like action movies. I watching a lot of new action movies as well, or superhero movies for that sake. I mean, I grew up when the first Superman movie was released with Christopher Reeves, and I loved it. I really did. I mean, wow, blue screen, the guy was flying and everything. But I mean, if you, and actually, it was quite good. It was not a bad movie. Yeah, I don't know. But
I think films back then were just made with more substance. Whereas
yeah, sometimes indeed, yeah.
I think films, because even some of the bad ones back then, which is really well. Like recently, I think we spoke about this film actually. There was a film that you know, Alex had recommended to watch because it was one of her favorite films, and we watched together. This was, I think, in 2020. We watched it together, and the film it's an older film, but at the time it was about I think it was centered around World War II, I think, and at the time when we watched the film, it was an older film, and I was like, okay, I'm watching an older film and all that kind of stuff. But what I noted was the way in which the film went from beat to beat, from story beat to story beat, was just so well done that it became one of my favorite films. After you know, watching it with her, it was like they really thought about like how they wanted to build the story out. Because at the beginning of the film, I was thinking to myself, I don't think I actually like this film, or I don't think this is my kind of film. But by the end of the film, it told a full story, and I felt satisfied. I felt like I had experienced something, whatever that author or writer or whatever wanted to make. I had experienced that particular vision that they themselves had for me, the viewer. And I think that's something I don't think I experience a lot with modern films. I find a lot of modern films, I'm not even sure what they're trying to say or what story they're trying to tell essentially with it. So, yeah, wow. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. But it's interesting, even so. Yeah. Okay.
So Rog, there's a thing we should do right about now. What's that thing called?
Shout out for your channel.
Shout out for your channel. Well, you know what? I don't think I've been watching any new YouTube this week. As I've been creative this week, I've been working on a lot of my stuff. So I can't really shout out anything but my stuff, you know. I mean, Roger, you can shout out your stuff as well, you know. I mean, of course, you know, Roger is at 40 Splish Splash, you know, he's at Splish and Splash on YouTube, so you know you can go and find him on there, you know, doing his Rogery stuff. You did mention you have a new video for Resident Evil coming, yes? Is it up already, or is it coming? I can't remember for sure.
Oh, no, I don't have a video for Resident Evil, actually.
So it's coming then, the Resident Evil
Winter?
No,
it's not coming. No, it's not
coming. Yeah, so Roger just confirmed that he's going to do a Resident Evil video for Resident Evil Village, you know, Winter, you know, what's it called again? Shadow Bros. You know, it's coming. He's just confirmed it here. You heard it here first, guys. It's happening. Just make yourself ready for it. You know, subscribe to him on YouTube. He's gonna make it. You know, spam his comment section. When is it coming, Raj? Is it members only? Make it happen, good sir.
When one ear won't listen to the other, well, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Here we go.
It is what it is. It is
what it is, sir.
It is what it is, indeed. You guys can look out for, at least I know I am going to be working on a review for Moonscars, which is currently the game I'm reviewing right now. So I'm literally reviewing this game as we speak. The fact that that I've been playing it throughout the podcast so far, you know, so that we have footage.
No, it's good. It's good.
Next podcast, I'm hoping I will have enough footage to just like leave it whatever we're talking about. We'll be able to run the background. I just need to at least have at least an hour long worth of footage, so we have enough. So yeah, next podcast, hopefully that's the case. But generally speaking, we're still figuring out this whole live stream kind of aspect of the podcast. So this is a new thing for us. those of you watching live, those of you who are listening to us on, podcast app of your choosing or whatever have you. Hello and welcome, Don't feel like you need to switch to YouTube if you don't want to. But if you do, we welcome you here. Subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. But anyway, that being said, you can also please check out LP Guardian on YouTube. I will be making much more content for that YouTube channel in the coming weeks because of the fact that I am trying to monetize it more, because of the fact that I do need revenue, and this is currently my primary revenue source right now has become YouTube and stuff like that due to circumstances of my life at the moment. And so I do want to sort of like lean heavily into it and do more and create more stuff and stuff like that, especially now that I have the time at the moment to do more of this. I want to do that. And so if you want to support me and feel like I deserve your support or you enjoy the stuff that I create, just send over to @LP Guardian on YouTube. That's Guardian to you. And, subscribe and check out the stuff that I've got going on there. If you feel like you can become a member, feel free to do so. I'm still working on emojis and stuff for the channel. I haven't gotten those things completed yet, but hopefully I'll have those done soon. But you will get special like videos and extra content and stuff like that from me on there. So yeah, with that, that's about it. Rudge, and last words before we get out of here.
My last words is stay healthy, have a good week, and don't do anything I won't do, sir.
Yes,
Be
sir.
healthy, yeah. Eat an apple a day, keep the doctor away, and all that beautiful stuff. Watch some Tele, play some video games, and just stay healthy, man. Yeah, that's what I want to say. Muffining out.
Beautiful as always. Yes. If I do say so myself, yes, these splendiferous things.
Words.
Yes, these words. And so, as always, many beautiful people like you subscribe to this podcast and Castbox, and then you got your Acast, you got your Google Podcast and stuff, and simplybeats.com, yeah, and all that kind of good stuff, wherever you get podcasts and all that kind of beautiful things, and yes, and basically, you share this podcast to other people and all that kind of stuff, and many people like to subscribe as always, and with that, this has been Kid for your pleasure. It's a wrap.
Oops.
Oh, brilliant. I love it. That's the episode, guys. That is episode 149 in the bag. Thanks for sticking around for the ride. See you guys in the next one. For those of you on YouTube still, I've ended the recording, but those of you on YouTube, just make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. Let us know what you guys think about the podcast. I know this is a new format for us, and this is a new place for us posting the podcast. Also a new time for those of you, because it's like really early in the morning for most people. But hopefully more and more people start noticing that we do it at this time in the morning, and it fits nicely into your schedule if it can. So with that, peace. See you guys in the next one.